Okay, I hope the screen is visible. Let's discuss Bangle Sellers by Sarojini Naidu. In the previous class, we discussed about the pre-reading activity of Bangle Sellers and Sarojini Naidu. We got to know that Bangle Sellers happens to be one of the community-based profession, similar to other caste professions. In rural India, especially, these Bangle Sellers visit every house selling their bangles, and predominantly you find this bangle selling during fairs. Okay, and about Sarojini Naidu also we got to know that she was a prominent freedom fighter and one of the foremost fighter for women's emancipation. Okay, though you get to know that Sarojini Naidu fought for women's rights, civil rights, and was against colonial issues, you see it raises of patriarchal notions in this poetry. So, okay, in this poetry, you find this bangle seller describing the act of bangle selling in first person. So, on the one hand, he describes bangles, but and on the other hand, he correlates it to women, women at different stages of their life and women's emotions. We'll get to know how it is. Bangle sellers are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. So he's talking, the person, the narrator in this poetry is the first person and not Sarojini Naidu. Through this bangle seller, Sarojini Naidu is describing the act of bangle selling. Bangle sellers are we who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. So here, bangle seller, who is the narrator here, is narrating in first person. He says, we, it's first person plural. We who bear our shining loads to the temple fair. So you should visualize that a bangle seller carrying loads of bangles, okay, taking it to the temple fair. And this is how he appeals to the people, tries to convince the people to buy. Who will buy these delicate, bright, rainbow-tinted circles of light, lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives? So he's screaming out to passerby, okay, saying that who needs this delicate, bright, rainbow-tinted circles of light? See, look at the imagination and the description. He is describing bangles as circles of light. When sunlight falls on it, it starts shining. That's why he calls it as rainbow tinted. See, usually when do we get rainbow color? When all the four colors, when light falls on a glass surface, all the 7 colors are emitted, Vibgyor colors. That is called as rainbow color. Lustrous tokens of radiant lives for happy daughters and happy wives. See, from this expression, happy daughters and happy wives, you get to know his main target is men. Okay, therefore, whoever wants to keep your daughters and wives happy, take these bangles and gift it to them. That is what he intends to convey. Okay, now he proceeds to the various types of bangles and for whom it is meant for. Some are meet for maiden's wrist, silver and blue as the mountains mist. So he says, maiden means what? You would have come across a term called as maiden wicket, maiden century, maiden test match, like that. Means what? Here it refers to first time a person has got a hat trick, then you say maiden hat trick, maiden wicket, first wicket, like that. Your maiden's wrist here refers to a unmarried woman or a girl. So he is talking about the various types of bangles. Out of those types, one of the type is meant for unmarried girls, silver and blue, which is similar to mountain mist. Some are flushed like the buds that dream. Means again he's talking about other type of bangles. Means some appear or some resemble the buds, the dream. Buds means what? It is not yet blossomed. Okay, he is describing the buds which are on the tranquil brow of a woodland stream. Tranquil brow of a woodland stream means these buds are yet to blossom. And where are they placed? They are placed in a silent valley of a woodland stream. Woodland here refers to a forest stream. You should visualize water flow, stream of water flowing in a silent forest. In that place, a bud is yet to blossom. So one of the of newborn leaves means what? Some are aglow, some are bright. Once he says some bangles, some type of bangles are like bud. Now we say some are aglow, means it's fully blown. That cleaves to the limpid glory of newborn leaves. Some bangles resemble a fully blown leaves. Some are like fields of sunlit corn, meet for a bride on her bridal morn. Means what? So first he mentioned about the bangles that are like bud, then that of blossom leaves. Now he talks about the bangles that are like cornfields, sunlit corn. How does the cornfield look like in bright sunlight? Like that, there is a type of bangle. And to whom does it fit for? Meet for a bride on her bridal morn. It is meant for a bride on a bridal morning refers to morning. Okay, I hope you would have come across the concepts of haldi ceremony and those kind of things. So even sunlit corn is also yellow. He is describing yellowish color. Bangles are meant for brides. Some like the flame of her marriage fire. Marriage fire. I hope you all have witnessed Hindu where the bride and the groom are made to circle the fire sermon or the fire that is lit 7 times. See, during olden days, there were no advancement in technology like photography or videography. So the ultimate purpose of having photography and videography legally is to have it as a proof that these two couples got married. But what has happened? But during those time, there were no such technology. Therefore, what they used to do, they used to they used to swear in front of fire, God fire. Okay, they used to say in front, bearing witness of the fire God, I am marrying you. So that is what they used to say. That is how the concept of Agni Sakshi means the Agni, the God Agni itself is the witness. Okay, now if you go to the court of law, you have to have a marriage certificate and at least the photos of marriage for any proof. Okay, now the laws are so stringent. If you want to travel abroad with another female person, you should have valid proof. Okay, you should declare whether it happens to be your spouse or mother or sister. Okay, there should be clarity. People ask for marriage certificate. During those days, there were no such certificates, no such proofs. So they used to invoke God, fire itself, himself to bear witness to marriage. Some like the flame of our marriage fire. So some bangles are so bright, similar to the fire sermon itself, or rich with the hue of our heart's desire. So look at the intelligence of using words here. His main description is to sell bangles by describing the quality of bangles. But simultaneously, what is this bangle seller doing? He is trying to correlate it with women in different stages of their life and also the women's emotions. Okay. See, in Indian subcontinent, the primary purpose of a daughter, the primary duty of the parents towards their daughter is to get their daughters married to a good family. Okay, education, profession, and other things come secondary. So you should imagine that this poetry was written 75 years ago, or even 100 years ago, in the 20th century, when women did not have that much of exposure towards education and employment. Okay, so the primary purpose of any parent, daughter's parent, is to get her married to a well or a well-off family, or rich with the hue of her heart's desire on the day of marriage. Therefore, even women are indoctrinated in such a manner that the ultimate day, the best day of their life is their marriage day. So on that day, they want to look at their best, and everybody will be anticipating for that. Every girl will be anticipating for her day of marriage, or rich with the hue of her heart's desire. That is what he's trying to tell using these words is the day of a girl's marriage is the best day of her life, and that is the day when she will be the most happy. Tinkling, luminous, tender, and clear. So, how will that bride be on the day, girl be on the day? Tinkling. Tinkling means very happy, luminous, bright, tender, and clear. Tender means very young and clear. She has the clarity that I am going to marry this particular person and lead the rest of my life with him. Like her bridal laughter and bridal tear. See, look at the conflicting emotions that are mixed together. Bridal laughter and bridal tear. He's comparing this type of bangle, the yellow color bangle, with the emotions of the bride. Bridal laughter. Bridal laughter denotes our utmost happiness, purest form of happiness, because she is happy that her dream is fulfilled. And bridal tear. Why bridal tear? You can't fake bridal tear, because on the one hand you are happy of getting married, fulfilling your ultimate goal, but on the other hand, what has happened here is she is forced or not forced. She has no options to continue in her parental house. She has to leave her parental house to her husband's house or in-laws house. That is why she feels sorry, she feels disappointed, because for their entire life. Okay, see, you should imagine a girl. Imagine a girl of the 20th century who did not have, who did not had much of exposure towards education and employment. Okay, moving away from the parental house to the in-laws house. For 18 odd years, she would have stayed, or 14 odd years, she would have stayed in her parental house. But after this particular marriage, she's expected to go to the in-laws house. Okay, during those days, communication technology were not that great. But now, the present day girls on the day of their marriage, they will not feel this much of nostalgia, because for the purpose of education and for the purpose of employment, they would have already moved away from their parental house. And because of the advancement of mobile technology, you can meet them, meet them online, virtually, and also due to transportation, advancement in transportation, you can have your own car to reach your parental house. You can have a bus, train, or flight if you want to meet your parents. So now the intensity is not that great compared to the flights, or compared to the emotional turmoil that the girls face during 20th century. Then the Bangle seller moves on to the next type of bangles. Some are purple and gold flecked gray for she who has journeyed through life midway. So there are different types of bangles for different types of women, or for women at different stages of their life. Purple and gold colored, gold flecked gray, goldish gray, is meant for women, middle-aged women. Middle-aged women. Why? And she's describing who are those middle-aged women whose hands have cherished, whose love has blessed and cradled fair sons on her faithful breast. See, in pre-reading activity, you got to know that Sarojini Naidu fought for the rights of women. But here you see the patriarchal notions that even a fighter, women, those who one who fought for women's rights also have. Okay, in especially among Hindu families, there is preference for male child. Not only in among Hindu families, in entire Indian subcontinent, there is a preference for male child. That's why they say fair sons. Fair sons does not mean it has multiple meanings. One is associated with color. Okay, son should be fair, or usually with sons we don't usually associate it. Only with the girls we associate, saying that it should be fair. Okay, earlier we used to get advertisements for fair and lovely for girls. Now we are for boys also, fair and handsome. So this that is one, and other is good natured. On her faithful breast, look at this. Faithful is another important term. A woman is expected to be faithful. Okay, if a husband has extramarital relationship, society is okay with it. Whereas if a wife has extramarital relationship, society will criticize it. Okay, that is. But recently, now we are moving towards equal society. I would like to inform you about one legal measure that the courts have taken related to this marriages. See, earlier, just a year ago, extramarital relationships were punishable. A husband, if he involves in extramarital relationship, a husband could be punished, a husband could be jailed. When such things happened in the context of live-in relationships, in the context of mobility, urbanization, globalization, when one such husband was jailed, he approached the higher court and the Supreme Court. His main question was, the problem with this law was, a wife, if she is involved in extramarital relationship, was not punished, was not jailed, because soft corner was shown to her, saying that she could be a victim of the circumstances. Therefore, she was not punished. Whereas, if a husband had involved in extramarital relationship, he could be jailed. He approached the higher courts. Then the higher court said, if you start punishing the husband and wife for extramarital relationship, it leads to a lot of carelessness. It leads to a lot of family disputes, and one person will not trust the other, and they may use it as an excuse for separation or for victimizing somebody. Let's say, imagine a husband only will force a wife to get into extramarital relationship. You should imagine a helpless woman, uneducated, helpless woman, not an educated. Many times, even educated women become helpless when the husbands are very powerful. Okay, if he forces the wife to extramarital relationship and then shows it as a proof and then jails her, it will lead to a lot of legal problems. Therefore, what the Supreme Court said was, we will make it legal. No, sorry, not illegal. We will not consider it illegal. Means what? From last year onwards, if any husband involved in any extramarital relationship, he could not be jailed. It is not illegal. Having extramarital relationship is not illegal in India now, but it is immoral. It can act as a ground for divorce. Let's say a husband involves in extramarital relationship and the wife gets to know about it and she has a proof of it and she can use that proof to get divorce from the husband. That is permissible. But a husband or a wife now cannot be jailed for having extramarital relationship. Okay, why I mentioned this? Because here they have used faithful breast. Faithful breast means what? She shouldn't have any extramarital relationship. That is what it means. And serves her household in faithful pride. So this is another expectation. In additional English, you would have studied mother, how a mother is considered as a sacrificial figure, how she is expected to sacrifice her own desires for the sake of the children. Here, wife or a wife is expected to be faithful towards one's husband, towards husband's household, sacrificing her own desires. And serves her household in fruitful pride. Fruitful means the wife, though she is sacrificing on her, let's say, consider an educated woman, highly qualified woman. She is not going to work for the sake of the children, for the sake of the family. And the household praises it. Oh, you're such a sacrificial woman. You are sacrificed your life, your career for the sake of the children and the family. So it is being glorified rather than focusing on the sacrificial, the benefits that this woman lost despite her highly educated status. And serves her household in fruitful pride and worships the gods at her husband's side. So this is also there. Okay, till the age of 18, 21, she would have prayed one God. And after she gets married, she relocates to a different place in the sense to a husband place. And the husband's God becomes her own God. Okay, so look at this, how for a woman, everything changes after marriage. Her surname changes. Many a time, her name only changes because the groom's side feel that her name is not matching with their culture or their cultural notions, therefore change the name only. Many a times her name is changed, her surname is changed. Okay, and her entire focus also changes. They say there is an adage in among Hindu mythology or Hindu tradition. Once a girl is, and they call it as a kanyadan. Once a kanye means a girl is donated to a man in marriage, that girl will no longer belong to the parent side. She belongs to the husband side. Okay, that is what it is says. So now you can have it. You have the options. The context is 20th century where the women didn't have sufficient options. Now you have the option. You can retain. Many times what happens when you have a bank account, in your maiden name. Especially girls will be able to relate to it. In your maiden name, if you have a bank account and your marks cards, everything, education documents are in your original name. And then after going to husband's house, you add the husband's surname. Then it leads to a lot of problems. Okay, you have to submit marriage certificate and other things. So it's better to retain your original name which you have in your marks card, because again you have to change your Aadhaar card, voter ID card, PAN card, everything keeps on changing. So many times it may not match at all. So it's better to retain your original name. Now nobody will insist. Both are educated. Both are what do you say, gender sensitive towards gender issues. Okay. So I hope you are aware. You got to know about the summary of this particular chapter, where where Sarojini Naidu, through the Bangle Seller, tries to elaborate on the rich culture of bangles, various types of bangles, and how these bangles relate to women at different stages of their life and different emotions of women. Okay, and though we see Sarojini Naidu being a champion of women's rights, we see patriarchal notions about how these bangles are linked to women at different stages of their life. Okay, with this, I will move on to the post